Hey folks, Sidalay here. This is going to be a tutorial slash guide to completing the obstacle course that you can find in the practice range without using any movement abilities. So no movement abilities like jets, jumps, or dashes, raises satchel, or omens teleporting. For those of you who are not familiar, in the firing range slash practice range course, there is a hidden parkour, KZ, whatever you want to call it, obstacle course that's on the back side of the building that continues all the way around and up into a tower. So we are going to be completing that without using any movement abilities. There's already been a couple of videos on YouTube that show the overview of the course, but everyone that I've seen so far has used jet to dash around and jump around, so they're not really completing it, in my opinion. And I thought I would make this guide to show how I think the developers intended the course to be completed. So yeah, let's get to it. Alrighty, so let's get started. For those of you who have played KZ maps on Counter-Strike, this course will feel pretty familiar. You won't really need to be doing any bunny hops, but you will need to be pretty comfortable with strafing and crouch jumping while strafing. So yeah, that's pretty much the only essentials that you need for this course. There are a couple of spots that are pretty difficult and can be pretty frustrating, but I'll do my best to give you an idea of how I completed it or got onto those spots. And yeah, I'll be talking as I go along the path to explain it, and yep, let's get started. So the course starts on the left side of the gun range, the firing range, where the graffiti is. This is basically the intro to the course. And as you can see, there are footprints. So footprints basically show you the direction that you need to be going, and it's just kind of like a highlighted spot so you can see which direction to go with the course, which way the course is supposed to go. And if you look at the orientation of the foot, most of the time it shows you what direction you need to be facing for the next spot. Sometimes it can be confusing because you see footsteps going this way, and the next obstacle course might have a obstacle path where you might have a footprint that's facing the other way, meaning you'll probably need to jump backwards afterwards, but we'll get to that later. So as soon as you walk up to the footsteps, you'll see a notification that says course started. And yeah, let's get to it. So this part you could just walk off, you don't even have to jump. This first section to the checkpoint, oh, and also there are 16 checkpoints in total. Every time you reach a checkpoint, anytime you fall off or die, you'll respawn at that checkpoint. So 16 checkpoints in total. The beginning one is the first checkpoint. So this will be checkpoint 2 up where the door is. Getting to checkpoint 2 is pretty straightforward. You don't even need to crouch, although I like crouching and jumping for most of the time. You just follow that along. As you can see, there's footprints, handprints, footprints. You need to crouch, I believe, to get onto this one. I always crouch. I've never really tried it without crouching, but just to be safe, I always crouch. And I believe that's why there's this handprint. So as you can see, we reached checkpoint 2. The next steps are pretty straightforward as well. Anytime you see a reset is a checkpoint. And don't hit the reset unless you want to reset the whole course, because it'll kill you and you'll start back at the beginning of the firing range entrance. Alright, checkpoint 3. So this is where the first difficult jump comes onto this box. You will need to crouch strafe onto the box and get a pretty good jumping or running start. You jump around this spot and you should be able to make it. There we go. Handprint, we need to crouch to get onto this. The back side of this brick isn't really there physically, and if you walk back too much, you'll fall off. So make sure to be careful on that part. Oh, and I died. It happens. So we respawn at the last checkpoint that we reached. Crouch strafe onto the box. Get onto the brick. Next spot, as the footprint shows us, is on this pipe, since there's graffiti on it as well. We can't walk too far back, or else we will fall off the brick. So this will be the first tough jump, I believe. There we go. Now this jump, you'll also need to get a little bit like around this area and get a pretty good start on the run to get onto this spot. Crouch, and we reach the next checkpoint. That's checkpoint number 4. Oh. Another little difficult jump. And a really long drop. Alrighty. There we go. That one you will need to crouch to reach as well. And this next jump too. So far all of these jumps are pretty straightforward. You don't get into the really tough spots until the tower later that we'll get to. Alright. So here we have 2 options. We can jump into the window, get out that window and grab the rope, or we could actually just jump straight across and grab the rope. I'll show both methods right now. To get into this window, as soon as you start hitting the wall, you have to hold crouch so that your body can fit and fall into this. You hold crouch and press forward. As soon as we get out of this window, we want to go towards the rope and get ready to grab it as soon as the notification comes up. And we're up on the roof. And now I'll show the other method of just jumping straight onto the rope. There we go. Alrighty, on to the next part. Checkpoint 6. Alrighty. So for this next part, there are two paths available, as you can see from the footprints. One that goes over the tree, one that goes this way. We will start with the first way, the most obvious way, this one. So for this section, you have to, it's a little bit difficult to get on the chair. You have to strafe and jump from this corner, strafe onto it while crouching from the jump. So you have to crouch as soon as you jump, pretty much. There we go. There we go. As you can see, there's handprints right here, and there's not a handprint here, but you should crouch as you jump off of this chair onto this tile, and then you just jump while crouching to get onto that, and then we got onto the roof. The next checkpoint. Alrighty, so now we're going to take a look at how to do the second alternate path, which is actually a lot easier than the first one, I believe. So we need to get onto this ledge, so we need to jump over this tree. You could crouch and jump over. On this part, you can slide off, so be careful here, but you do need to crouch jump to get onto this spot right there. As you can see, it was like sliding right there. And because the footprint's pointing that way, we go this way. We jump onto this, crouch jump onto these tiles, get onto this roof, jump onto the bench, and there we go. Pretty easy. Straight onto the next checkpoint. Alrighty, on to the next checkpoint. So we're gonna need to walk across this tightrope, crouch jump onto this sill right here, and then we need to strafe jump onto this brick to get to the next checkpoint. So this sill is pretty difficult to move on. It's if you move too far back, you will fall off, and there's not much room to get a running start on, but basically you have to get a running start, jump and strafe to the left and land onto the brick. Like so. And there's the next checkpoint. So once you get onto this next part, you'll see the handprint and it'll be a little bit confusing, but basically what you need to do is get onto this brick right here and then crouch onto it. You'll see the footprints facing this way. This is one of those cases where the direction of the footprint really helps because there's not really anywhere else to jump here and it could be really confusing. But basically what you need to do is strafe around to this. There's a little plank that's sticking out right here that you need to jump onto. Just like that. And then be careful here. If you get stuck on the brick, you'll be stuck in crouched position even if you let go. So make sure that when you let go of crouch, you're standing all the way up. Then you just need to jump onto this. There you go. 1, 2, and checkpoint 9. Alrighty, just jump across, jump across. Now this part, you need to be crouched all the way when you strafe into this. Unless you crouch, you'll just fall into this invisible wall and you'll fall all the way down. When you crouch and strafe into it, you'll get stuck in this pocket right here, and you'll be able to jump up onto this slab of concrete. Like that. Alrighty, on to the next. Here we go. Take the rope up. Checkpoint 10. Alrighty, so this is basically where it gets really tough. And I'm sure that I'm gonna need to do many takes of this. So yeah, here we go. Basically what you need to do is from this big slab of concrete, you're gonna have to jump onto this brick. This jump right here is not too difficult. You'll just need to get a good running start and crouch strafe all the way onto it. But getting from this brick to this brick is probably one of the hardest jumps in this whole course. We're getting pretty close to the end, but this will take really, really long. But yeah, let's try it. There's the first jump. So basically to get onto this, you have to run straight ahead and do basically a 180 strafe. And whoops. You can't walk too far back either to get a good running start, or else you will fall off. But yeah, you'll need to do a 180 strafe straight onto it. As you can see, it's kind of angled down. So kind of calculate the distance between this. It's a pretty harsh curve that you need to do. But basically you run and crouch strafe onto it. Oh, and there we go again. There we go. Alrighty, so once you make it on this, you'll want to jump onto this plank. This jump shouldn't be too difficult, but after you get onto this plank, you will need to jump onto that ledge, which is a little bit more hard. But from here, you could just kind of strafe, crouch onto it. There we go. There isn't too much space to work with on this, but try to crouch back as much as you can. And then you'll want to crouch strafe onto that ledge. There we go. Next checkpoint. So this part is a little bit difficult as well. You'll basically need a crouch jump like the whole way through. The whole jump, from the beginning of the jump, will need to be a crouch. And then you'll need to strafe a little bit onto this ledge. You don't need too much of a speed boost to get to this spot, but you will need to get this crouch jump really precise. There we go. And same for this spot as well. There we go. Yep. Now there's another step that goes around right here, and you basically need to, this jump shouldn't be too difficult. You just strafe around onto the brick, but you will need to crouch. There we go. Just jump onto this one. And we're ready for the last final jump. This jump and that jump took me the longest. That jump, sometimes you get random luckiness and jump onto there and get the checkpoint even if you miss it a little bit. As long as you graze the top of it, you still hit the checkpoint. This one, you have to hit it. You have to jump and strafe and hit it at this angle right over here. Let's give it a try. And similar to the jumps that we had to do to get up here, you have to crouch jump. Make sure you are crouch jumping. And there we go. You have completed the hidden parkour course in Valorant. Congratulations.